Alrighty, I am back. Alright, okay, let's see. Let's figure out some of these colors here. This gave it a chance to do its thing. Let's see, so I'm going to blend a little bit more right here. They appear a little dull on the stream, so let me see if I can enhance the coloring just a smidge so you can see what I'm seeing. Let's see. This take me a quick sec. Okay, I bumped the saturation up a little bit so that we can both see kind of similar to what I'm seeing. Let me see, I'm going to see maybe a little bit brighter, a little bit more contrast. Oh, that's too much contrast. Okay. So it looks like the colors are a little truer than what they were. Okay. When some color goes on a little too fast, you'll get splotches, like water looking splotches. Gotta be careful of that. Just kind of blend them in or blend them out. Alrighty, I had to adjust my music too. Sorry about that if you couldn't hear it. Now I'm going back through and just coloring in certain spots. It'll just enhance her look a bit more. Okay. Now I'm using the 20-piece set of the Tulip fabric markers. And this one gives you kind of like a flesh tone. It looks kind of like a off orange tone, but when it dries, it gives it like the basic flesh tone, like a Caucasian flesh tone. But I use this a lot with as an undertone. When you draw people realistically, you have more than one color that you're working with, and tulips are really great for blending. I mean, they are amazing at blending, and you can also dilute them and get more of a watercolor feel to them, and that also helps with blending as well, if you want to try that as well. They also last a really good time, and I want to say they're one of the best. They're the ones that I would go back to over and over again, next to the graffiti, and I want to say they last longer than or as long as the graffiti does. And then when you apply your color, it usually it doesn't come out too fast on with the tulips, but you may have to put multiple coats on in order to get the color that you really want. All right, let's see. I'm going to see if I can enhance these this webbing a bit. I'm going to see if I can kind of double up on the web, just to make it just a little thicker, even though the web should be pretty thin. This is more like, I don't know if I want to say rope. It'd be cool if I could add something that's like it captures a little bit more of what's going on here. Okay, I'll go ahead and fill in some more of this. You know, I've never tried the jelly rolls on fabric, but I think once I do, I'm going to have to coat it with Mod Podge to keep it from washing out. I don't know. Let's see. We'll just see how it works so far. See, in this outfit she doesn't wear as much pink or anything like that, so I'll forego adding pink on there. Let's see, but her hair, I will use, let's see, I have black, and let's see, the grays are pretty close to black too. Like, this particular one is dolphin gray. So I'm going to use a little bit of the gray on here. Let's see, it kind of alternates between black, her hair, between black and this blonde. And you see, like, dolphin gray is almost as black as black itself. We'll have that part be blonde. I can see if you color it lightly, it looks more gray, but that's the dolphin gray. It looks black. If I add white to it, it might make it, let me try the little jelly roll. It might bring out the gray a little bit more. Yes and no. Okay, let's see. That's kind of why I like using either the white from an opaque version of the tulip markers, but it runs out pretty fast, at least the ones that I had. But if I go over it with a painter's, this is a painter's opaque marker, and I think I might have to iron this as well to make it stay, but this is kind of like a acrylic marker. You can see the gray a little bit better if I do this. This is also how I would lighten certain parts of the face, just to add a little highlight if I needed it, where I think I need it. Like if my brown was just a little too brown, but these browns are pretty close to the tones I really wanted to get. It's got a fat tip, so you gotta be very careful of that as well. When it's wet, you can kind of blend them together to get a lighter tone. I think that's as far as I really want to go with this, only because it's so small. Let's see. Sometimes when you color over something, it will lighten your lines, so you might have to go back into them and re-add your lines. And that's not always a bad thing. Try not to go more than 1 or 2 coats, because that will, not coats, but when it's wet, try not to go over it more than twice because it may get too saturated and bleed and then move outside the lines that you wanted. Okay, now I think I want her hair darker than this, so I'll let the gray be the highlight, and then I'll just come over into the other parts where I think would be in shadow. I'm going to put little smidgens of the brown in here for the blonde, the darker parts of the blonde hair. I don't have a color that matches the blonde precisely, so I'm improvising. This here is a fabric marker. This is the Crayola fabric marker. And they come out pretty vibrant and stuff. This comes in like a pack of 10, but it doesn't have a brown. In the Crayola Art with Edge image that I had done, that one had a bit of, I had to improvise in order to create a brown. So I used like blue and orange and red. I don't know if I used purple or not, but I had to use all these different colors in order to get those colors. Oh, let me see. We'll have a blonde streak here or there. We'll have that one be a blonde streak, and we'll have this one be a blonde streak. And I think what I'll do to make it look a little bit more like a pale blonde color is to go over it with white. If you get the Sharpie fabric, Stained by Sharpie fabric markers, you'll find that your yellow is like bright yellow, and I use this very sparingly, just to get a little bit more yellow in here, because it comes out like a fluorescent yellow. So it comes out like a greenish yellow. Color this part in black. And I think I'll do the cowl. in like the gray tone, just so it'll set itself apart from the rest of the hair. I'm throwing a few streaks of black into some of it. Okay. Around the edge here, I'm going to have that be a light tone of black, just going over it lightly. And then I'll gradually get darker. Using the gray. I could play off some of these colors here, so I think what I'll do is I'll use the purple instead. Okay, I'm going to use my purple stained by Sharpie. And I'm using the very edge of it in order to color it. Now this is kind of cool. It's like a deep dark purple instead of completely black. Let's see, this is a little bit of a highlight. I just want to carry the shadow right on through. This is going to be highlighted, this is going to be in shadow a little bit, this is a little highlighted, this is a little bit of shadow. And we'll probably just leave it like right here, so she just has this part right here for the clock. But I think when I draw another version of this, and I know I think I will be, because I like the idea, I like the image. And I think maybe I might even put a hint of a clock with Roman numerals going around, so it kind of completes the circle. On my screen it looks bluish, let me see, instead of purple. But this is actually a purple tone. Let me see if I can adjust this color here. There, oh yeah. There we go. That's more of the purple, but it's too bright of a purple. Let me see if I can bring that down a bit. That looks truer to the tone. But the hair looks a little green. Oh, it does kind of look a little green here too. Let's see, can I bump up the contrast or no? Let's see, saturation. It's really heavily saturated. Okay, let me get that down a little bit. Okay, that looks too green. Almost there. The cheeks should look a little brown there. Oh yeah, that's close. The purple still looks a little, I think right there. Okay. I think that's closer to the tone. Okay, sorry about that. I should have had that together more. Okay, so that's closer to the tone. Let me bring this more. I want this to be more yellow. It looks like it's turning, slowly turning green. And I don't want that. Let's see if a different yellow would help us. I shouldn't have used the hot yellow. I know that, yeah, that fluorescent yellow. I might be doomed. I'm going to run the white through it to see if that helps. Oh, this yellow feels dry. Let's try this yellow. Yes. Add a little bit more black to this. This is not coming out as purple as I'd like it to be. Let's see if this makes the contrast stand out more. Now what I did is I pushed my back in so it doesn't hold on to the ink as it goes down, or the marker. This here is the Arteza fabric markers. Seems to work pretty well. And I think I'll throw a little bit of black into this too, and that makes the color a little richer to view. I'm just going to put it in a few spots where I think the darkness is, where it's darker and it's not as close to the light. Pretty much like under the bends, right before the bend and right beneath the bend. And then I'll go back with the purple and then enhance it. Now the stain by Sharpies come out wet, very fast, and they dry out just as fast. And you can see that this one's almost dry because it's almost empty, like right here. Usually it's really dark when it's full. And I just go into where the black is. And ideally you want to cover up as much of the white lines as you can. And that really bumps, it makes the picture a lot more saturated, and it lasts a lot longer. And a couple coats of it will make it last longer than every other image you have, simply because it'll finally like set in really deep and dark. I had done some superheroes, and the ones that lasted the longest, like as far as skin tones, were the ones that were the dark skin tone people that I had done. The lighter skin tone people didn't have as much saturation to them, But when I had to do darker skin, I had to add more colors. I had to keep it darker and wetter. I don't know, I just had to use more saturation to them. And I found that these darker areas lasted a lot longer. And I'm going to go into the light here a bit, because I don't want it to be too shiny. But if I wanted it to be really shiny, I would have just left that white. And I go into the black, and I start to try to bring the black out, and with the purple, just kind of going into each other. I'm going to have to stop a little bit so it doesn't bleed. When I'm in the interior of it, it's not so bad, but when I'm getting closer to the edge, I want to be very, I don't want to put too much into it. Highlights, you want to kind of think of your highlights ahead of time, because it's easier to go darker than it is to go lighter. So you have to kind of work from light to dark, if that makes sense. And if you still have a hard time with that, there's always the white marker, but while it's wet, it'll lighten areas. It'll blend in and lighten areas like this. This is closer to the top, so I want that to be like a lighter purple. This is around the edge here. I want that to be a little lighter. Around her boob. And probably around the edges of the figure. Just wanted to kind of take the color and just lighten it a bit. Now, it is easy to overdo. And if you do, you just go ahead and go back over with the darker colors. And you can blend it in a little bit more. Now also, with when you add the white to it, you also have an opportunity to add another color to it. I'm thinking about adding the hot pink from the Stain by Sharpie in here, along with the purple. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to put that only kind of like in the interior here, so you can tell that it's the inside of this. Now I'm just going to go over everything with this hot pink and just kind of skirt around the edges of the outside here. Okay, that's not too bad. It's kind of feminine. So we're a pretty death. Okay. Alrighty. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the, this is Lilac from the Arteza. And it is really super saturated right now, so I'm staying away from the face and the hair because I don't want this to ooze on in there. And then I'm going to let that dry a bit. And the back is not touching the shirt itself. It's just, but it is protecting the opposite side. Okay, so this gives me an opportunity to outline some of the other things that I had neglected. Let me see. I'm going to use this one to give it more of a variance to the skeletal hands. And I'm going to have her robe come a little bit over the hand and just kind of blouse itself down here. I'll make it dark right here because I want to try to give it an idea that this is closer to us, and this is for this part of her is further away. And I'm just coming around some of the edges and making them a little darker. Now on my screen this looks super bright, like it's white, and it's not. Actually, it's got color in it. It's not a lot of color, but it's not completely white. So let me add a little bit more to that. And I'm going to throw a little bit more chocolate on her. Or actually, this one right here. This one looks more of her tone. Now the graffiti fabric markers are not labeled. There's no numbers or anything. It says 560 on here, but I think all of them say 560. So it's kind of useless without you making your own color chart. Okay. Alright, so let's see. We're going to use a little bit more brown in this yellow area. I might end up trying a fabric paint on there as well. I just don't want it to look green like it's looking now, or bronze tone, which is, it doesn't look bad, but it really wasn't the color I was going for. So I should never have used this one because it's more of that fluorescent and it gave it a green tone. So the hair looks more bronzed than anything. Okay, enough of that. Now, but what I am thinking of doing is maybe making these things kind of like this this tone. I could make the skulls red, and that would kind of bounce off the spider. And we'll make the spider a little bit of pink here too. We still have the skull action going, but I don't think that's going to be relevant. So let's see. So should we make the skulls pink or leave them white? No, I'll make them red. Just to give them some color. Let's see, now this one here is raspberry. This is a deeper, darker red, I think. So let's see if we can use that in certain spots. And I think where I use color in one place, I want to use it in another. So I'm going to use a little bit of this raspberry here. Let that dry. It's kind of interesting, this raspberry is almost like a pink. It's like a rosier red. Ultimately, I don't want to see any of the white of the shirt peeping through anything I put color on. Use the lilac again and just keep that edge there. So this looks more like the thing is, the cowl is kind of folding over. Yeah, put a little bit of lilac there. Okay. All right. This skull here. Let's see. We'll use a little bit of this pink here into the tone. So yeah, I guess I got my pink skulls. Okay, this part I definitely, on the inside of it, I think I'll have it be like that, this tone here. And then on the outside it would be the purple or the lilac or black. If I bring this down a little bit, her outfit seems to gather at the waist a bit. Let's see. It separates into lines. We'll play with that. Kind of like this. So she's got a belt buckle on each one of these. What I'll have it do is kind of look like ribs. Okay, and the sleeve is going in front here. I'll just leave this kind of like this. Maybe I might have something else coming over here. Yeah, it's just not enough space. Okay. This should have been a shoulder, but that's okay. And I should have had skulls maybe on this side as well. No, she only has the buckles like right here, and one right here. Maybe it's covered with hair, so maybe I should have. Oh well. I'll go ahead and color this. Let's see, I think don't want it to be too shiny. See, another way to get some of the color out is just to hold it there in place. So like if your marker starts to get a little dry or is acting kind of dry, just let your marker sit on the fabric a little bit and it'll ooze onto the fabric. Downside of that is that you might lose control of where it spreads. So it's better to just keep it moving sometimes or move slower. I'm going to have it be this lighter tone around the edge here. Oops, wrong size. And bring the web down a little bit. Let's see if I can make the white edges of the hourglass stand out a little more. Okay, so to keep your images from looking like somebody just drew on it, you know, make it look a little bit more professional, a little bit more profound, make sure you really lay that color in. You don't want to see any of the white of the t-shirt where you meant to put color. Okay, So don't leave any like stray lines like this in an overall coloring, because if you do, it just looks bad. It looks real bad. So let me throw some more lilac in there, and I'm just going to kind of let this at the edges and just get it really super thick and colorful in there. I'll go a little bit outside the edge. And see how that's like super saturated. That is wet. That is deep. There's no white appearing in any area right there. And it looks a lot more professional once it's done. And it's dry and it's set in. So going to all the areas that look kind of rough and just filling those in as well. Yeah, it looks really nice. Okay. Like right here, it just doesn't look right. So I need to darken that in. And give it a nice outline as well. I'm going to use a little bit of this pink here, just so I can make these two tie in together and separate the edges of the cowl or the sleeve. I think I'll use a little bit of the raspberry. And it's cool, we have the colors on the top of the cap. So bravo Arteza for doing that. Alrighty, so let's see if we can throw a little bit of gray on the bones. I don't like this gray. This is a blue gray. This is from the graffiti fabric markers. And I guess it can't hurt to do the web in the same kind of wash it, but I'm thinking that maybe I might want to do maybe a different kind of I don't know if I want to do a different kind of web. I don't know. But this is really good gray for the scythe. Now I'm trying to remember if the blade is gray or if it's white. Let me see if I can find a scythe. Okay, so like this part here is white, and then this is kind of like a gray. These are the ones that I've seen. So let's see. We'll do this. And then from the bottom goes blue to the gray, well, to the white. And then from the top it's like the deeper, darker gray. Let's see, tomorrow's word, let's see, is, for number 15, weak. Weak and angular follows that. Weak, 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 weak. Weak. What do I consider weak? What would I consider weak? Angular is not so hard. I'm thinking of using like a Benedict Cumberbatch face. He's got a really angular face. And what they mean by angular is that it's triangular. You know, it's got a lot of angles to it. Let me shake this a bit. I want this part to be really white, this one kind of leading to white. Now push it down. Let's see. really white down here. Yes, the white is flowing with this one. Okay. Oh, looks like a marker fell. Pick that up. Okay. Not a bad side, if I do say so myself. And the one I'm looking at has this little edge here. Now, the one I'm also looking at has some numbers or symbols around the edges. I think I'll make that into Roman numerals. Let's see, so from this point, it'll be like, that would be number 3. Let's see. So this would be 3 o'clock. This would be like 12, so 1 would be about right here. We'll see, that's about 4. And I kind of want them to look indented, so I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go back into it and see if I can make it look like it's been engraved in it or something like that. Let's see. That makes it look raised. Let's see. Well, I guess raised isn't a bad thing. let's take a peek at a few things here. Okay, now I'm debating whether or not I want to put some glitter on it because Kim likes glitter. So give me a second, I'm going to go run to the living room and grab my other glitter. Be right back. I'll give this a bit of a chance to dry. Alrighty, here's a few of the glitter glues that I have. Let me set this to the side. Now this is fabulous. This is ice purple. I'm going to try a little bit of this. And what I do is I'll mix it with a little bit of Mod Podge. Let's see, what is the Mod Podge? There you are. Okay. Brush. Come on now. There we go. Ooh, it's a little stiff. Okay. Let's see what we have going on here. Okay, I just plopped a generous amount on top of the shirt. And I'm just going to take some Mod Podge and work it in. Now, Mod Podge dries white, clear. So, I know that I got a good amount on it once I see the white disappears well. I mean, I don't know where else you're going to find a pretty death that kind of has a little bit of glitter to her. And I'm just saturating it really well because I don't want any of it to come off. And that's why I kind of like glitter glues rather than loose glitter, because loose glitter does have a tendency to come off. Okay, this works some more of this in. Now I have the back pushed down, so it's not going to glue itself to the back of the shirt here. And under a fan, this stuff dries pretty fast, but I shouldn't wash it until not for 48 hours, and I don't think there's any danger of that right now. Alrighty. Yes, Kim loves her glitter. Yes, she does. Just a little too much. I hate to say this, but I almost can't wait for this month to be over so I can move on to different other projects, things that I have more control over, than, you know, having to work by, you know, some standards here, which is the prompts. I mean, I don't have to, but, you know, I kind of committed myself to it. But next year I'm definitely going to have an overarching theme. I'll probably do each one of them as a separate shirt. That way I can't punk out on it by just like doing something piddly. Let's see. And even though I did the skulls in pink, I think I've got a pink glitter. I used a pink glitter earlier. Let's see. Yes, I do. Voila. So we'll do these little guys in pink. Let's see. And this isn't anything special, it's just like Elmer's glitter glue. This one here is Rich Art. Both, let's see, this one I got from a dollar store. I think it was Family Dollar. And then this one here I got from, I think, Walmart many moons ago. And then all I'm going to do is cover it with Mod Podge. And Mod Podge is a sealant. So it'll be safe for wash. And because they're glitter glue, it's not going to have glitter all over the place as far as, you know, loose glitter. So I just cover that with Mod Podge. Mod Podge dries clear, as you can see on the rest of this here. And I think I'll use a bit of this pink here on the interiors. And glitter glue is pretty cheap. Got a pack of 10 for like $2. Or $1, I can't remember exactly. This one I might have gotten at Walmart or the dollar store. Let's see. More glitter. I think that's definitely not what I needed more glitter. Dangerous enough as it is. Okay. Alright, I'm going to cover this up and use this another time. And if I really want to make sure that this stays in place, I will go back over it with another bit of glitter, another coat of Mod Podge. I do have gold, so I'll use a little bit of gold in her hair. These are tricky because sometimes they take the entire cap off. Oh, this one's going to be a good one. Okay. Be careful where I put it. Okay, this is just regular glitter glue. And I'll throw Mod Podge on top once I've smeared this on out. And it's gorgeous. I love the glitter on this stuff. Okay, let me smear it on in. And just do one more coat of the Mod Podge. Slather it on there. Now what's going to happen is that Mod Podge has a tendency to stiffen. It will stiffen for a few washes, and then it'll kind of loosen up a bit. But it'll still have that raised feel like you would if you had this done by one of those t-shirt shops. You know, that uses decals, I guess, and irons that on rather than using paint. Let me see, and just for giggles, I want a little more. I'll just like kind of work it in. I believe this is going to dry flat, if it does dry with any kind of raised bit to it. I think it'll be more flat than anything. And the music has died. One more time for the Gipper. I'm listening to Epidemic Sound. And we'll do R&B Soul. And we shall play. Okay, so while this is drying, try to decide if I want to do anything to this. Maybe throw silver on there, or just leave it like it is. I think that she should be the glittery one. I was also contemplating maybe making the web silver. It's not a bad idea. I think I'll do that. Oops. It's not a bad idea to have a rag nearby to wipe off any excess. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Try the next song. Oh, I think I know why. I accidentally muted myself. It's got one of those side buttons. And it's always constantly getting hit by something and can't hear anything. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put the web on here. And I think what I'll do is, I don't know, I'll just put it on right now. Okay, this is a great idea for the web. It's gorgeous. And I'm just having the tendrils go out towards Our Lady of Death here. was a piece that kind of came towards her. Just want to keep it nice and thin. Okay, I am going nuts with this glitter. It's like, Kim, this is supposed to be Inktober, not Glittertober. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So, what I'll do is start dabbing a little bit of the Mod Podge where the glitter is. Try to seal it in place. Excuse me, and then once this dries, I'll probably add one more coat of it. I'm not worried so much about any big globs or anything like that. Because it will dry clear. And I'm pretty much tapping it because I don't want the glitter to move. I don't want to brush it on. Well, people are going to have to look really close to the bottom of my shirt to see this. So, no tucking, no tucking. Yeah, I definitely want to do this on a bag or just something else. I like doing it on like shirts and stuff because I know that I can show it to more people. Locally, and I had one person stop me while I was wearing the Sailor Hulk Smash shirt, and she took a picture of it. She's like, "Oh, the Hulk, Sailor Moon." I'm like, "Yeah, Sailor Smash." She's like, "Okay, that's cool. Let me take a picture of it." I'm like, "Yay!" I said, "I did it myself." So if you decide to go the t-shirt route, like doing your own little shirts and stuff like that, you never know who is admiring it from afar. Not everybody is brave enough to go up to someone and say, "Yeah, I like your shirt." I know I'm one of them because I saw a kid with a Dragon Ball Z shirt and I'm like, "Oh my god, I want to do another Dragon Ball Z." So I'll probably, and that would be kind of cool to do an Inktober based on like fan art, you know, something that you're like totally fanning on, and you just can't like stop fangirling or fanboying off of it. Okay, so I think that's enough for now on this. I'll go ahead and end this live stream with just day 14. And thank you for watching. Let me see if I can make a bigger, increase this a little bit so you can see the entire image all at once. Yeah, I want the white part here to dry before I really just like end it. So let's see. I can think about what to do for a week. Maybe something about to break. Week. Something to do with love, something to do, week. I could do a good looking guy. and some girls fawning over him, and they make them weak in the knees. I could do let's see, what else can I do? Weak. Try to fan this a bit. I've got my, I don't want to get that going, but weak. So I think I'll draw out some ideas. Turn on my fan real quick. Now you might not hear me because my fan will be going, so I apologize for that. Or I'll just wait a bit, but I could see some of the glitter slipping through the white here. But once the white goes away, it'll look really super impressive. Let's see. What to do for week? I haven't thought about week. I think I want to draw some designs out. What would be weak? Ooh, how about someone who can't stop resisting, like drugs or something like that, and they just keep going back to it, and it's a weakness. I could do kryptonite, Superman and kryptonite, but I'm trying to stay away from licensed folks. Let's see, what would be good for a week? Not being able to lift. Yeah, that would be something. Not being able to lift something. I could have, no, I've already have somebody on top of somebody else. Weak. I could do like a cave woman dragging a man back to her cave. Let's see. You know, like the cartoon where they have like a knot in the head. Let's see. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this under a fan, and I'll draw up some ideas. So give me a second. Let me go ahead and put this under a fan, and before I end this video completely. Alrighty, I'll turn my music off. I'm not sure if you can hear me okay. I'm going to turn up my voice just a bit. Alrighty, hopefully that's loud enough that you can hear me. I've got a different mic in, so let me try a different audio capture here. Give me a quick second. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I have the fan going in the background, so I apologize that it's wicked loud. I think right now I'm going to start planning tomorrow's. Probably not necessarily doing tomorrow's today, but at least planning out some ideas, because week has left me weak. Like, I have no clue what I want to do. So I could do someone lifting something and they're having a hard time with it. Let's see. Let's see. I could do. I see a picture of people arm wrestling. A person who's exhausted. A person who's got rocks on their back. A person who can't. Like they're showing me weak and strong. I want to do something that nobody else has done. Weak. Yeah, arm wrestling. Chains. Let's see. Weak. You know, one of the things I'd like to show is a snail would be strong, but if they're trying to balance it on their back and they can't lift it, that would be cute. I could do like a little snail lady. And the last time I did a snail person, they were Zentangled. Like I had a little Zentangle image on them. That was kind of cute. But I really want to do something that I've never done before. How do you show coffee could be weak? Make a weak coffee alert. Let's see. I saw Gravity Falls kid trying to lift a branch, and he I guess that's the best he could do. Oh, this is cute. We have a person apologizing, and that's considered weak. It's like, I'm sorry all around them. Let's see. You know, one of the things I could never do is lift myself. So I could never do a not push up, but a pull up. And then I'd see other people who are able to lift themselves up, no problem. Let's see. Yeah, I've had like no upper body strength. I still can't do it. Then again, I haven't tried lately either. I've always been the one that I was always stronger with my legs than I was with my arms. You know what I'd like to do is put somebody's finger here. So you really have a hard time, you gotta lift yourself up. So you're trying to lift lift themselves up on a giant's hand, on a giant's finger. Maybe a hand pointing. Let's see. Let's see. This should be the middle finger here. So it goes like this. Like this. If I'm doing that sort of thing. We always had to do them like this. We couldn't do it the opposite way, or maybe we could have, but I didn't know. I think we had to do it like this and then pull ourselves up. And I remember watching this one kid that I had a crush on, and he was just like whipping them out like it was nothing. And I'm like, dang, I couldn't do one. Pretty bad, pretty bad. And I had fat arms. I'm an artist, not an athlete. This is my arm. And I still sucked. I wasn't a runner. Bit of a belly, had big thighs, and kind of an afro. Had a jerry curl back in the day. I'm thinking junior high when I had to do this crap. Okay, so yeah, I was definitely weak. Let me lift this up a little bit so you can see what I was doing. So that was me back in the day, and me probably current day too. So that's one idea for the week. Let's see, let's try a different idea. I'm not liking that one. Too close to home, I guess. Let's see. Okay, now the idea of a snail. Talk about crazy mobile home. Let's try this. We got the head here. We got the new home. Now, the way I had my snail lady, she had it like a, what's it called, a backpack. So she was holding it by the straps here. And then her legs are wobbling. This is the price you pay for a new home, I guess. Make her kind of cartoony. Give her the expression where it's like, the strain. It's like, oh, this is heavy. And then definitely you've got to have the sweat. So let's see, what if you were hiking? Let's see. through the opening. And we'll even have it going around her waist a bit. No pain, no gain. And then of course you got your slime, because that's the only way you're going to be able to move. And moving ever so slowly. But it'd be funny if the slime was caused by the sweat. And not by an actual secretion. Well, I guess it is. Sweat is natural secretion. Okay, so now I have kind of like a guide to what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Okay, let's see how this thing is turning out. Oh yeah, a lot of the white is already gone. Let's see if I can push down some of this other stuff here. Because I really don't want it to dry raised. That would suck. Okay. Alright, so this is the final of... Oh, it looks like it's pretty dry. Yeah, it's dry on there. Oh well, that'll dry clear eventually. Okay. Oops. Alrighty, and here is day 14. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me and helping me plan my my week. Again, I'm Kim Pinkney, and I will try to be more consistent. I think I'll be able to do a video on the weekend, so like on Saturday. Yesterday was pretty rough for me. I had stuff going on. My son's going into Job Corps, yip, yip, yip. So I was pretty much occupied on Saturday and then too exhausted to color or draw or even to think. So not much of a shopper, and we did some power shopping. But Saturdays and Sundays, count on a video. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and I will probably pop on again later and do some more work. And I'll see you later on the next stream. I'll do a speed version of this one in case people don't have time to sit through like a whole hour's worth of video. So stay tuned for that as well. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a great one, and bye.